In the 1960s, the quiet English town of Pontefract, West Yorkshire, became the unlikely setting for one of the most violent and terrifying hauntings in British history. The Pritchard family, consisting of Joe and Jean Pritchard and their 2 children, moved into 30 East Drive expecting a peaceful life. However, what they encountered was far from ordinary, a malevolent haunting that would come to be known as the case of the Black Monk of Pontefract. It began innocuously enough. The family first noticed strange occurrences in their home. Cold gusts of wind blowing through rooms with no windows open, a fine white powder falling from nowhere and lights flickering on and off by themselves. At first these events seemed odd but harmless. The family chalked it up to faulty wiring or strange quirks of an old house, but as the days passed the activity grew darker, more violent, and increasingly hard to explain. Poltergeist activity began in earnest, with objects moving on their own and furniture being thrown across rooms. On several occasions, heavy items like cupboards and chairs would levitate and crash to the ground with tremendous force. The family was bewildered, terrified by the escalating intensity. The Pritchards began hearing loud bangs and thuds throughout the house, often coming from the walls and ceiling. At night, strange sounds filled the home, footsteps pacing the halls, doors creaking open and shut, and whispering voices that seemed to come from nowhere. Things took a more sinister turn when the family began to see the apparition that would become known as the Black Monk. This figure, dressed in black robes, would appear suddenly, looming in doorways, or standing ominously at the top of the stairs. His face was shadowed, obscured by a hood, but the sense of menace that accompanied his presence was palpable. The family's daughter, Diane, was particularly tormented by the entity. On multiple occasions, she was violently attacked, scratched by unseen hands, and even dragged across the floor by her hair. Desperate for answers, the Pritchards turned to local authorities and paranormal investigators. What they learned only added to the horror. The house was built near the site of an old gallows where, centuries before, a 16th century monk had been executed for unspeakable crimes. This monk, known for his violent and vengeful nature, was believed to be the dark figure haunting the Pritchard home. The investigators, too, were not spared from the terror. On one occasion, while a paranormal expert was in the house, a loud crash echoed through the home and the figure of the Black Monk materialized, sending everyone fleeing in fear. The investigators recorded significant temperature drops, sudden cold drafts, and strange electromagnetic readings that defied scientific explanation. For the Pritchard family, the haunting became unbearable. The violent poltergeist activity showed no signs of stopping. The Black Monk would push, shove, and even try to choke members of the family. On one occasion, a crucifix hung on the wall was ripped from its place and hurled across the room. The entity seemed to feed on the family's fear, growing more aggressive as time went on. The local press got wind of the haunting, and soon the house became a point of fascination for both curious onlookers and paranormal enthusiasts alike. The Black Monk's haunting didn't let up for years, making life inside 30 East Drive a living nightmare. The Pritchards attempted multiple blessings and exorcisms to rid their home of the evil presence, but nothing worked. The activity would subside for a short time, only to come back stronger and more vicious than before. In an attempt to make peace with their terrifying situation, the family began to accept the haunting as a part of their lives. They even gave the entity a nickname, Fred. But despite the name, the malevolent nature of the haunting never softened. Fred, or the Black Monk, remained a terrifying force, determined to torment the family and anyone who entered the house. As time passed, the activity gradually lessened, though the house never truly felt free of its dark history. Visitors to 30 East Drive still report strange happenings to this day. Unexplained cold spots, objects moving on their own, and the unsettling feeling of being watched by an unseen presence. The legend of the Black Monk of Pontefract lives on, with the house now known as one of the most haunted locations in England. Even today, paranormal investigators, thrill seekers, and curious visitors brave enough to spend a night in the house report encountering strange phenomena. Some have captured eerie voices on audio recordings, while others claim to have seen shadowy figures lurking in the corners of rooms. The haunting of 30 East Drive, though quieter now, has not fully died down, as if the Black Monk still roams the halls, waiting for the perfect moment to strike again. The Black Monk of Pontefract remains one of the most chilling and violent hauntings in British history, a dark reminder that some spirits, no matter how long they've been gone, never truly rest.